your company, it was invested in by Sam Altman, right? The OpenAI AI CEO. And you used to work, I guess he was your boss, right? At one point.
He was my direct boss at his startup. To me, he was just the best boss I ever had. He leads by working hard. We started getting signups. Every single signup said, I need this because I have ADHD. And I was like, what? I would copy my friend's homework and they'd copy my test. For me, the homework wasn't how I learned.
No, wait, this is so spot on.
We started it before ChatGPT was launched, and fine-tuning what I think is a, like, extremely just empathetic cheerleader of an AI bot that makes you kind of forget you're chatting with AI. I like mine to swear at me. It like kind of wakes me up a little bit.
In what context do you like it to swear at you?
This is one of the best ones was...
I think you're okay. The headphones are really a benefit.
Yeah, it's all for you. Like if you feel like you're more comfortable wearing them.
It's not a super high likelihood. I mean, this is an ADHD podcast. Like a couple ideas of where they could be.
Yeah, this is like, we're going to send you on an ADHD scavenger hunt. That's the first test right now. It's like, how fast can you find the headphones?
Oh my gosh,
we would like you to take the camera with you. Yeah, we'd like to take the camera with you. We'd like you to disclose by force the entire state of your office and room. And and we're going to all find... Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Attention Different podcast. My name is Stephen Tonti, and co-hosting with me today is...
Aaron Smith.
Today, we have a very special guest, someone we met this year, and we're so excited to have her on the show. Sharon Pope is the co-founder and CEO of Shelpful, the AI task manager that chats to you and with you to keep you on top of habits and tasks. She's also a creator, sharing her ADHD, AI, and automation tips on Instagram and TikTok. Before Shelpful, Sharon was a startup executive for 15 years, running marketing and product teams and advising startups at the famous startup accelerator Y Combinator. We are so thrilled to have Sharon on the show. We are really going to get into it today. I feel the energy is up. Welcome, Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And you nailed the intro. I mean, you did it way better than I.
Thanks.
Way shorter. I loved it. I'm happy to be here.
It takes practice. It takes practice and petit peu diva-ness, right? Like a little sprinkle of diva and some practice, and you'll be giving intros tomorrow. So, Aaron, what are we here to talk about today? There's so much. There's such an opportunity. Hey, Stephen here. Sorry to interrupt. We just wanted to take a brief moment to tell you about this week's sponsor. At Attention Different, our mission is simple. Offer ADHD adults proven practical strategies for living a more balanced, fulfilled ADHD life. And that is why we are thrilled to offer our latest course, Thriving with Adult ADHD. While other courses might focus on the pain and struggle of being an adult with ADHD, and we do not want to minimize that, this course is designed around accessible, relevant, and applicable techniques that address the most common challenges facing ADHD adults. Inside Thriving with Adult ADHD, you will learn how to better understand your adult ADHD and gain clarity about how your brain works. Improve focus by using tools to cut through distractions and get things done. Create time management systems that are realistic and effective. Get organized by building routines and habits to bring structure to your days. Learn to manage your energy for productivity without burnout. Regulate your emotions by developing strategies to manage your emotional ups and downs. You'll learn to find balance by optimizing medication, self-care, and professional support. You'll learn to shift your mindset beyond survival mode and instead focus on personal growth. You will learn how to gain confidence and take control of your life through tailored, actionable solutions. Thriving with Adult ADHD features 2 hours of on-demand video, 10 downloadable resources, lifetime access to the material, and a satisfaction guarantee. Go to attentiondifferent.com/thriving to sign up now. That's attentiondifferent.com/thriving to sign up now. Hey, thanks for the quick break. Now back to the interview.
One thing before we jump into just kind of some of your backstory or some other stuff, I just wanted to say, so you, just for our listeners, your company, it was invested in by Sam Altman, right? The OpenAI AI CEO. And you used to work with, or, I guess he was your boss, right? At one point.
Yeah, he's been my boss a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
And is this boss or boss's 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 boss? You know what I mean? Like, where in that line? Yeah.
No, he was my direct boss at his startup. His first startup was called Looped.
Whoa.
And it was,
Looped.
if you guys remember Foursquare, there was like a
yes.
big surge of mobile apps where you would share your location with friends. Looped was like the first one. Then Foursquare kind of, I guess, quote unquote, won, but no one really won because everyone just stopped doing it at some point. But he ran that startup, and I went and worked for him to run PR, and then running marketing. And so worked directly with him, and then our acquiring company, we went over there and worked together. And then I left that company to go work at Y Combinator when he was running it. So I worked with him like 3 times.
What was that like? What was he like just as a manager, a boss? What kind of lessons did you learn in that time through being in startups?
Yeah, I mean, startups, I think, pumped through my blood. It's just like after I knew what it was like to work at a startup, it was hard to want to work at a big company because the pace and just the vibrance of ideas and collaboration and low ego is kind of a requirement. And I thrive in those environments where people are just like, hey, here's an idea. Should we try it? And you just do. And a lot less talking and a lot more doing. And I just love that. And so that, like, my introduction to startups was huge. But Sam, it's so funny to like him, as obviously he's now a figure. But to me, he was just the best boss I ever had. He's a year younger than me, which was like at the time, was like novel. But he leads in a way that he leads by working hard. Like, he works hard, so people work hard around him. And he also was the guy who I try to emulate in anyone I manage, which is just kind of, if someone shows strong aptitude, just give them more things to do that they don't think they can do. And he would always do that to me. Like, I was running PR and he's like, well, you're gonna run marketing now. I'm like, oh yeah, like temporarily. And he's like, nope. And I was just kind of, someone believing in you more than you believe in yourself is something that I've really carried with me. And I mean, he truly kind of excelled my career in a lot of ways just by believing in me and giving me those opportunities. So I'm a fan.
And how does that carry over into what how you manage people, or how you, because I'm assuming you have a team of folks that you're working with Shelpful. Tell us about how like you bring that skill set into your business now.
Yeah, I mean, I will kind of be open in saying I don't love management. I don't love the kind of ethos of management and those things because I think I rebel against structure. I like people, and I like working with skilled people who are passionate about what they do. So I think probably the most of my efforts go into just finding those good people. And then from there, I really just kind of want to like give them the opportunity to go wherever I can. Like, if I find myself micromanaging someone, I'm actually miserable. Like, they probably would be too, but I find that way as well. So I always felt like my style, even when I was running a team of like 40 people, is just, I work hard and work hard with them. And I feel like if I'm kind of in the trenches with somebody, working hard and giving them power to make decisions, then I think it usually has a good outcome. But, it doesn't always, because sometimes that doesn't happen and changes have to be made or adjustments need to be made. And that's kind of the risk of managing that way.
And I guess it could probably go either way, right? I mean, if you're micromanaging and being a helicopter kind of boss, manager, it still doesn't mean it's going to prevent something from going awry, or someone's energy from getting displaced and put somewhere else in a different context, and the work not getting done, or not getting done the way that you'd hope it was being done. So I mean, I guess like you still have the problem. The problem is like, how do we get to where we want to be, and encourage people with that growth and to put in the type of effort. And a lot of that, I guess, is like I guess in our experience, like just running Attention Different and stuff, it's really has to do a lot with like who you hire, who you bring on, right? Because some people you bring on folks and they just either don't have a certain skill set, or they're in the wrong role, right?
Yeah.
For them. And it's almost impossible to motivate someone in that space.
Right.
Is that kind of like your experience too, or?
I mean, I think especially with startups, I think not everyone's really meant to work at a startup, or, especially, or if they've come up in a more corporate structured environment, those are hard things to unlearn because they are very, you're used to someone telling you specifically what you need to do sometimes. And I think the cool thing about, I think why I thrived as an undiagnosed ADHDer in the workplace for so long is because I worked in environments that were reactive in some ways, like PR. Oh, this reporter's asking a question, move. You had a lot of inbound you had to react to. And then in the startup world, it's like, I have an idea on a Monday. It could be built, like I can be like, let's do that instead. And we have it up by Wednesday. And that's not, in a bigger company, you're following a plan and you're planning way more in advance. So I think for me, it's an opportunity to thrive. And yeah, not everybody, works well in that type of environment.
Well, this is a nice bridge to come back to ADHD and your diagnosis journey, because that right there is not everyone works well. People with ADHD seem to work better sometimes in this startup environment, in the entrepreneurial environments. And you didn't realize that you had ADHD until much later in your life, right? Tell us about that journey.
38, was I?
38.
Yeah. And so I was, as I said, I did well at work, but I struggled, right? Like I hadn't gone to the dentist in 3 years, but I had gotten promoted 3 times in that amount of time, so I didn't have, I kind of have the story of just judging myself a lot constantly. And it was my dirty little secret that I didn't take, that I couldn't take care of myself. But yes, thank you. I did that project well. And so I had been told by both in college and in my early career by doctors that I'd ask them, I'm like, I think I might have, my brother has ADHD. Do you think I could have it? Because I really have, listeners of your podcast would know some of the common things. I have a really hard time starting things. I have a really hard, all these things that I hadn't done tons of research on it, but I was like, could I have this? And it was like, well, how are you doing in school? What are your grades? Oh, what's work like? Oh, wow, you got promoted twice this year? No, it's anxiety, so I was kind of just told flatly that I didn't have it. And I think that's a story for a lot of women.
Yep.
And so I could have known earlier, and I wish I did, because I think what I would have saved me a lot of self-judgment. But by the time I was 38, I had just had my second kid, and I was working at another startup, and I just was in this pit of working 12 hours a day, taking care of my 2 kids, my dog. Everyone was fed. Everyone was alive and thriving. And I kind of was staring at myself in the mirror that night, looking at the workout clothes that I had put on that I never worked out in. Couldn't remember if I took a step outside or took a drink of water, and was just genuinely drained. But I just was judging myself so harshly for it. I just was like, how can you not get this together, woman? And I tried so many things, because I'm that person. I'm the person who's like, what's that new product? And I would always try things, and I couldn't find anything that could support me in taking care of myself. And my idea was kind of like, I wish I just had someone sitting on my shoulder and telling me, reminding me to take care of myself. And so I had this idea, and that it kind of cemented in a dream, kind of, where I woke up with some resolve of I could build that. I could build a first version of that. We could have real humans texting with real people, reminding them to take care of themselves. And so
that was the first conception, is if I just had a human here and someone texting and reminding me, hey, do this thing, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Did you switch the load on the laundry, or whatever, right? Reminding you.
Perfect examples. And this is me thinking it's a me problem, but maybe some other people would need help with reminders to eat nutritious food, or I didn't think anybody else needed to maybe get a ping about, did you put deodorant on or whatever? Because again, I just thought
still in the shame and self-judgment mode of this is probably just me. I don't want to admit this. Yes. I kind of need it for this reason, but other people probably have these higher purposes that they need reminders on. Yeah.
They're trying to go from 70 to 100, and I'm trying to go from 0 to 10. There was a lot of self-judgment in it still, but I wrote my friend Lydia in. We put up an initial version of the product, and I was just kind of putting it on Facebook groups, and we started getting signups, and people in their sign up, because we had this open comments section.
Yeah.
Every single sign up said, I need this because I have ADHD. I need this because I have ADHD. This will help with my ADHD. And I was like, what? Because for me, I was solving a problem that we now know was me suffering with ADHD. Mm-hmm. And I built a tool to solve that problem for me, and it was ADHD all along. And so it was kind of, I always say my own customers diagnosed me with ADHD because like everything just got quiet when I started seeing those. And I was like, well, number one, I think this might be something that could help people, so I should keep working on it. Number two, I'm making a doctor's appointment and advocating for myself because this is clearly something that I've had every single time I've asked the doctor. And, you know, so then I dove deep, and it ended up with me being a pretty big advocate and open sharer of my lived ADHD experience, because I just, you know, it just like turned a page in my life story where I wasn't judging myself so severely. So I love sharing that with others and showing that like vulnerable things, like I can't clean my office, you know, like come with me. Right. So I think that it just opened this chasm for me of like, okay, dive in. This is the new you. This is the new chapter where I can actually like help people like me and maybe create something that does that.
That's an amazing Genesis story.
I know, you can't make that stuff up.
No, yeah, your own folks are kind of reflecting back to you. No, I experience this too, and it's because of ADHD. And you're like, wait, ADHD? Wait, I probably have ADHD too, then, right? Because
yeah, right.
Well, this was the second round, though. Then, am I hearing that because you had already brought up to someone, my brother is ADHD. Do I have it? And that's someone, a list of doctors who typically look at women and down at them as they're dumb or not smart enough to ask the right questions, and said, no, you're anxious. That happened beforehand, twice. Right? So this was twice. So that twice happened. This is the final cementing. Oh, right. Peer to peer, the people who are saying, I have a diagnosis, I need this, are confirming for me, we are the same.
Right. And I like my primary care provider at the time was someone who I liked, and you know, I felt like she'd be receptive to it. But I booked the appointment. I went in with notes. Like, this is why I have ADHD. This is
and here's why.
Here's why. And I just like literally opened my notes app and like walked her through all the reasons, because there was no way I was leaving there without her not being on board, because I knew so purely in my heart that this was what had plagued me for so long, and giving it a name was just released me of so much guilt.
Yeah.
And it was huge for me.
And you were met with a wall though, because that primary care person sounds like she might have been a great doctor in other ways, but did not have the capacity or the skill base to be able to diagnose ADHD in women.
Right. Well, this time after my customer said it, it was all green lights. She believed me.
That's what it sounded like.
She gave me a quiz, like the kind of like typical whatever little quiz, passed with flying colors. Haha. And I then was referred out to a psychiatrist. Yeah.
But you had to bring the receipts. It's the typical story.
Yes. Oh my! And like I make it sound easy. That part wasn't easy.
No, of course not. Aaron and I know we have had the privilege, I'll call it, of having adult women work with us on our brand, on our product, and have had identical story to you, like identical situation where persons of authority, white lab coat wearing people say you are wrong. You are incorrect.
Definitively.
You have not. Yes. You are definitively incorrect. I'm a person of authority. I went to school for 10 years for this, and you are incorrect. Only to then reverse that shit after somebody brings the receipts and says, no, you're wrong. And that entire process is fucked. That's not an okay process. That's a broken system in which the patient is having to self-advocate in a grotesque amount, like a way over the top amount. Yeah.
Right. That you can't be default believed is a tragedy. And it's not just ADHD, right? Like this is women in healthcare in general. Yeah. They can withstand
more pain principle. I mean, we're that bedrock of just like, well, this woman going through pregnancy, they can take more pain. You know, these foundational radical misunderstandings of humanity are pervasive throughout the diagnosis journey, and it sucks ass. Like, no, you should not have to bring the receipts to tell somebody, hey, I'm pretty convinced this is how my brain works, bro. Could we at least start the exploratory phase? To be told no completely is so obnoxious. Yeah.
Right. And it's, I mean, a lot of it's because they weren't taught too, you know? So, I mean, I think hopefully we're breaking some of these cycles because, well, for ADHD specifically, I think as you guys well know, it presents differently in women often. And so this whole like, oh, well, were you bouncing off the walls? And I was like, no, but I would be like sent out of the class because I like would be verbally processing something. And they were like, no side chatter, out of the class. And I was like, I was literally just repeating something back to myself.
Yo, that brings back a memory. That is such a good callback. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about the side chatter as disruptive, but you were literally asking a classmate, did I just hear this right? She said da 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 da, right? Like in the physics class.
Even to myself.
I forgot about that. Yeah, or to yourself, or just being like, so the axes and the sine wave and the cosine, x plus y, like you're just doing it out loud and they're like, get the fuck out of the room.
Which, by the way, in adult life would be seen as an excellent communication skill. Like repeating something back to make sure you heard it correctly. Like, hello.
It's proof of mastery. Yeah, we call that proof of mastering an idea, is to be able to repeat it back more simply than it was given to you.
Yes. And I excel at that, which was not appreciated in the classroom.
You were also missed. Your diagnosis was missed for many years because it sounded like, you know, they were labeled as anxiety. And to me, it sounds like you were working hard to mask this and to cover up for a lot of the self-shame and the things that you were doing that people don't see on the outside, right? That you were hiding from them. But you were working 2-3 times as hard as other people, and throwing yourself into whatever it was, the startups at the time or whatever role that you were in. And so many times, like, the outward measures of success, especially I think for women who I think, you know, become like twice and 3 times burdened in our society with like, I have to raise my kid. I have to take care of myself. Now I have to also earn income. I have to show up in these male environments in a different way. Like there's lots of extra energy and extra things that I think females have to like do, right? To compete on this like playing field.
Wow. Yeah. I don't even think I've like, I don't think anyone's said that to me since my diagnosis. But yeah, I mean, I was the only woman.
Well, fuck that. Let us be the first. Yes, of course you were.
In a big boardroom.
Yeah. Wait, please,
I mean,
preach.
I just think
please
that,
preach.
You don't think about it as ADHD plus all the other stuff, right? Like I was, you know, when the acquiring company, the one that acquired Looped, Sam's company, was a bank holding company and very male in its leadership. I think there were 2 female, like C-level. I was quickly promoted, disproving my ADHD, of course, to be CMO of that company, chief marketing officer, which I was like the youngest CMO on any company in the New York Stock Exchange public company. And so I wasn't just a woman. I was this like little woman. I was like a young little gal. And so like earning the respect.
A young little gal. Oh my God. I mean, I hope no one ever said that to you.
You had to make sure you were like buttoned up, dressed right, you know, so because skewing young was not a good thing in that environment in terms of earning respect at a bank holding company. You know, when you have big partners, like very big retailers that you meet with, I would be very like, I would put a bun in, pantsuit, you know, I had to like really truly mask, like literally mask my look. And yeah, in addition to anything I was struggling with that was ADHD. So yeah, it definitely adds to the turmoil.
Yeah, well, you're sitting with 2 people who I hope we've represented well. We don't intimately understand this as the women that we are not, but we do understand this as the like more radical acceptance leading, more Buddhist narrative leading, very aware of ego attachments and the biggest egos in the room. And guess what? They're largely men in that boardroom. And the idea that you are having to, that's just one layer. That's just one extra layer. You're carrying so many extra layers. Yeah.
Right. And so like,
let's talk about that.
Like I went to like a board meeting and someone came, like a woman who worked in HR came up to me and was like, grabbed my stomach and was like, how are you feeling? And I'm sitting there trying to be like the professional in the room. I don't want people grabbing my stomach. I don't want people asking me about my pregnancy. I want people to ask me about the marketing plan. You know, like I was, you know, you kind of get pulled in a lot of directions and it's hard.
Oh boy. Yeah. Like that pressure cooker, but also like I feel like, and correct us if we're wrong, but I feel like we're also very, sort of efficiently circling that anxiety right? Like where this anxiety is coming from, right? The anxiety or these signal flaring for these professionals is to know you have generalized anxiety disorder. Like, wait a minute. What if everything we just described was super distressing and extremely heavy and exhausting and probably made you hella anxious all the time. That misdiagnosis can lead to that scenario, right? Where you were standing in that room, pregnant, being felt up by a person who's HR. supposed to be aware of that behavior,
and calling attention to me in a way I didn't want.
Calling undue attention to you and you did not ask for. So you just have like constantly people breaking your boundaries, interrupting you, down talking, dismissing, all the while you are having to do naturally more work than your average adult peer in the room, just functionally. You have a baby on board. I do wish that general practitioners would continue to coming around to the reality that to live and operate in a capitalist America, to operate in the system we've built is extremely distressing and stressful for everyone. If you add anything to that profile, it makes it force multiplied. Right. And so for I just don't get where the GP goes, oh, waves off. Oh, flipping. Oh, whatever. Have you not been awake with eyes open? Isn't your job more stressful? Don't you have more anxiety than you did 10 years ago? Right. Yeah. It's just a weird lack of compassion and empathy that comes from that.
And it's just, for some reason, an easy thing to just siphon off a diagnosis into. And I hope that evolves because I don't see why that's a better diagnosis than helping someone with the root cause, which is your point is leading. In this case was ADHD, right? And if I had been able to know that at the time, I mean, I still would have had the job. I still would have worked hard, but I would have probably been able to advocate for myself differently. I would have been able to, I can't even start to imagine how I might have just thrived in a different way. Yeah. It would have been completely different.
Your bewilderment made internet freeze. You know what I mean? And I think that's the power of how because I can't even imagine had I been given this information in an appropriate time.
So I think the misconception here for a lot of, let's say, general practice doctors is that, and it's not always their fault because sometimes they look at the diagnosis and they see, well, it needs to have impairment in multiple domains. That's part of the diagnosis. Right. So clinically, you need to show, okay, this person's impaired, not just in this one area. It's not just like at home or at work in this context, but it's like multiple domains. And that's where I think it goes wrong because they look at this and like, oh, well, she's succeeding at work. She's getting promoted. She's not impaired. Right. But they're not looking at it relative to your ability, to your natural aptitudes, to your intelligence, to other things. And that's where it's like, wait a second. Impairment can look differently for different people. That's what we need to understand. Someone, I'll see this with kids that I treat, right? They'll come in, they'll be very intelligent, have a lot of abilities, and they'll get like a B in the class. And someone will be like, oh, that's not impairment. It's like, no, but this person you don't understand.
You don't know what a duty for this be.
They're working like 3 hours on homework to get this and really stress themselves out. And they are a natural straight A student. Like they're really high achieving. And so for someone like that, it's hard because if you have the opposite where you have someone that's a low performing person who's failing, they get flagged a lot of times.
Right.
So it's a different way of masking too. It becomes this thing. Yeah.
I always say, which is, embarrassing to admit, but I would copy my friend's homework and they'd copy my test. You know what I mean? Busy work was hard. And I mean, I'm not proud of that, but whatever, I just needed to get the points for the homework. For me, the homework wasn't how I learned.
Yeah. So that was the busy work. That was the hard stuff. That was, that was where the difficulty was like.
Back up what you said, right? Yeah, because the test, they would come to you, right?
You guys can look at my answers. We're good. Yeah.
I love that is so dichotomous for ADHDers. And also, Sharon, full ditto. I was a nightmare when it came to homework. I never made below an A on quizzes and tests. So in a testing environment, I was extremely skilled. But in homework, it was zeros. It was zeros across the board. So I would get a B. Famously, Holly Fetter sat next to me. She'll laugh hearing this. And she got an 80 at the end of the semester for math. And I got an 80. And Miss Sampson turns to Holly and goes, "Good job, Holly. Great 80. You worked so hard for that." She turns to me, doesn't say anything, just points her finger at the 80. And I go, "Yes, 80. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Barely." Because I had done no homework that semester and only taken the quizzes and tests.
Yet you know the material. So why isn't that the judgment of
right? But no, but I think that the reason I bring it up is that persists into adulthood, right? In a healthy and collaborative relationship, I have found my twice exceptional, brilliant friends who, by the way, actually have generalized anxiety. And for that reason, they don't perform well on tests, but they always did their homework and they always had incredible grades because they did the thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
These are a lot of the time the yang to my yin. These are my producing partners. Friends. These are my, right? Yes. Yeah. Did you find that while developing your app and your product, like when you were surrounding yourself with your team?
I was going to say, well, I have one of my best friends from high school is still in my life and will sometimes be like, "Did you book that mammogram?" Like she'll still kind of come in and she was the one who cheated off. Like she was that one who we did the homework test exchange. Shout out to the neurotypicals who help us through life. My goodness. I'm very blessed, I feel like, to have that. So yes, in building the company, my co-founder Lydia is undiagnosed but neurospicy. And my other co-founder, Chris, is neurotypical. And he's the engineer. So it works great. But he was attracted to the company. And this is what it's hard. I think this is actually maybe, I wonder if other ADHD founders have found this. The people, when you're recruiting for a startup, the best people to bring in are people who understand the problem and are passionate about fixing it, right?
Right.
In this case, you could end up with a whole team full of ADHDers and it could be a little chaotic and not very organized. I think the cool thing that happened with us, and I think maybe happens with others, is you have someone who has kind of skin in the game, who has people in their lives who are affected by this issue. And so they're kind of an ally. And so Chris, our CTO is for sure an ally. As another software engineer we have, that I think that we have this superpower of ADHDers and allies kind of working together on something that.
Oh, I like that. I like calling that a superpower. That is a cool use of that. The combo of neurotypical and
right.
There is something super and wonderful about getting neurospicy and neurotypical people in a room. I mean, it's famously Tina Fey's answer for SNL's success, right? You have to have half a room of academics, neurospicy, and half a room of jocks, neurotypical.
It's good. The balance helps. You have to come up with the ideas and you actually have to get it done, which I do get things done, but I'll get distracted along the way sometimes. And it's helpful to have someone who's like, all right, let's look at the Kanban board. What did we actually plan to do? Let's go.
We would not have our first e-course if Brandon did not fly to Colorado to drag Aaron and I into the woods and make it. Like that was a Brandon grabbed her hands, was like, we've been talking about this for 6 months. We're now going to go do it. Here we go. We're going to do it. Here we go. And then by the end of the day, we had an e-course filmed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, and this is why I just think surrounding yourself with varied people in your life is always good. Different brains, different everything, backgrounds, cultures, because there's so many kind of holes we can fill in for each other. And it's pretty special when that happens because you feel there's a support feel that, I think happens in those dynamics too.
This is a good primer for a little segue. How has the product or products, how have they evolved with this admixture? Where has the product come since?
Shelpful has evolved to be, as you mentioned, it's an AI task manager. The initial product, we started with just like humans texting each other, but that is expensive because we pay humans and we like to pay them well. And so we were really lucky that we started it before ChatGPT was launched. So kind of before the big AI wave. And so we were kind of able to ride that wave in terms of being early and getting, plugging into the OpenAI API and fine tuning what I think is a extremely just empathetic cheerleader of an AI bot that makes you kind of forget you're chatting with AI, and how the reason people like it. And we just launched an app, our app version, our iPhone app. And someone wrote in to us saying, I cried during the onboarding because I felt like I'd never been listened to like that. And I was just like, that's what I'm going for. Because we worked really hard on this. Like, there's no forms to fill out. You just jump in and you're in a chat. And you have someone who's asking like, hey, what do you want to do? Like what's falling off the list that you wish wasn't? And you're kind of just chat about it. And then it'll hold you to something smaller. You're like, I want to walk 10 miles a day. Well, why don't we start with just walking outside like every day. If you're not doing it, like we've worked really hard to make it good at bringing a bare minimum onto the table and like helping you kind of just get the ball rolling. And for me, that's really comfortable because I never loved living in lists. I think as this conversation would support, that's not something I think I'm very much dependent on my brain working, my memory, and that's not always trustworthy. And so what I really wanted was like a second brain, somewhere where I could kind of dump, like, I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's what you can do in the chat with Shelpful. And then that little second brain logs all that shit on a list. And so you kind of have the comfort of knowing that it's there, it's in the backup. And so if you're not going to forget about it, and it's the AI task manager, which you can name, like Deadline Daddy, Task Daddy, Naggy Nancy, whatever you want to do. And it will pop in and be like, hey, do you think you could do the post office today? Like, would that fit in the day to day? So you're kind of, it's like, I know that someone's going to ask me about it. And that's in a nice way. Hopefully that doesn't trigger my RSD.
So you have a list. It functions as like, there's this chat component, but then you have like this list where you put your tasks. And it's the brain dump. You kind of can like brain dump whatever you want into this thing.
Yep. And
then you can trust in some ways, like, hey, all right, it'll come back. It's kind of like that, boomerang effect or something. It's going to like come back to me. I don't have to use my working memory to like remember all of the different things.
Right.
This AI chatbot's going to tell me, hey, are you doing that thing? Have you done it?
Right.
But it's also doing it it's designed in a way that you're saying like it's a very supportive, encouraging, and realistic. Because I mean, if someone was I could just think of like one of our listeners being like, well, then, why don't I just use like the regular ChatGPT or whatever? Why don't I just use any other AI? But it's like, I feel like you guys have carefully crafted this AI bot to like really be more supportive and in line with what an ADHD non-neurotypical brain needs.
Yeah, and openly, it's like the thing I needed.
I'm going to double underscore what Aaron's saying here. I find that when people take the extra step to think about the user, think about the traps and pitfalls, think about the ways in which you just said right there at the end, we don't want to re-trigger RSD, right? So I agree with Aaron. That sounds like an extra attention paid to the neurospicy user and not to be too hypey that it's not possible. Like we're really dialing it in. I feel that as well.
I hope so. And I mean, if you're hearing that we worked really hard on it, that is very true. And we're definitely hearing from users that it's hitting that note, which is, music to my ears. I think we can always get better and we can always have more features, and we're working harder every day. But I think, for me, it hits the right tone by default. Obviously I was the engineer of that prompt, but we also have like a custom instructions field where people can add more to it. Like you can say, I have extreme RSD, like take that into account every single message you send me. And so it can customize it for you even more. I like mine to swear at me. It like kind of wakes me up a little bit.
Love that.
I'm like, swear at me, be funny. Because it just gets and I'll change the instructions from time to time to just add some novelty too. But
give us an example of what it would say to you. I'm just curious, like, in what context do you like it to swear at you?
This is one of the best ones was, do you think you wash your fucking face, Sharon? Like, and it was just like a one line. And they said, or even just walk to the sink and call that a win. And I just loved it. But just like, can you wash your fucking face, Sharon? Just like lit me up. And, like,
how about going to the fucking sink, Sharon, huh? How
right.
about that?
I know. And my goal was like to get to walk to the sink because it coached me to have a smaller goal than just, because that's, as someone who I now know of ADHD, but I struggled my whole life. Like washing my face felt like the really hard thing. And then I, of course, realized that I had sensory issues, the water dripping down my wrists. I mean, these are things I found out at age 38. So the little things like washing my face regularly are things I'm still working on. And I'm proud of that now. I think that this is like a lot of what we talked about, I feel like kind of comes to this too, of like, I'm proud of the workarounds that I have done to thrive and be alive with ADHD and to get through a day. And I think
say more on this. Give us some examples. Yeah.
I mean, of course I made this app Shelpful with my team, but before this, I was life hacking. I was setting up automations with when, like, if I got an email from then this thing would happen. I've been, or even just like the way I do laundry or all these little things that I did that were like secrets in my mind that I was doing differently because I didn't do it the normal way. I'm like ringing the bell now. I'm so proud of those things because like that's harder. It's harder to have to think through how to get a simple thing done, to have to work myself up for hours to make a call. You know, these are hard things. And I'm super proud of any workaround that I can come up with to like help just grease the wheels and like just doing some simple things that day that felt hard.
What are some things that worked for you?
Wait, Leah, start with this question of what works for you and that internal. And then I would like to only add onto this, what have you done to express this pride to other non-ADHDers? Because I think that's also important. So what are some of the things that you do in this space? And how do you hashtag brag about it in an appropriate way?
Right. So, I mean, so categorically, I think I do automation. So I use my iPhone shortcuts app to make things happen automatically based on either arriving at a location. So for instance, when I get to my son's preschool, it automatically pulls up the app I need to check him in because I was the parent who would always forget to check him in. And then be like, I guess we'll do it for you. And I didn't like that. That was shameful. Now the app opens automatically and it's just on my phone. So I just tap. So there's like that's just a small example, but I have a million things like that where like also when I get in the car and connect to CarPlay, it starts playing the song that my kids like at the moment, you know, like just one less thing to be overwhelmed by them all of a sudden yelling and the overstimulation. So like, I kind of try to take these moments of like, when am I overstimulated? When am I dropping the ball? And I'm like, can I grease the wheel a little bit? Is there something that can happen automatically? And so I love that stuff. And then laundry is another area where I hate laundry. Always have. Snap. Never want to agree. And if you notice, people be like, "Yo, I hate laundry too." No, you don't know. You don't know how it's painful. It's awful. And so but I looked at it hard and I was like, what parts suck the most? What parts suck the most?
Good question.
And for an ADHD brain, there are literally like 70 steps in doing laundry. I mean, I think you could actually break it down, and there are all these
roughly. Yeah, no, I think Aaron and I did some research, and I think it's like between 68 and 72. Yeah,
there, perfect. Yeah, I'm sure our numbers line up. So I was like, my least favorite part is the sorting. Like, I have this giant load, and then I have these. Hopefully, I moved it to the dryer. Let's just assume I did. Oftentimes, that's not the case. But if I did, I now have these clothes that are on a kind of ticking time clock that will now sit on the dining room table or whatever, waiting for me to fold them and sort them into piles where they belong. And so I ended up just pre-sorting so basically I made a shelf and I have a dirty bin for all my key areas. So I have a clean bin for tops and a dirty bin for tops. And so as I undress or clean up my floor robe, like as I'm taking my floor robe off the floor, I'm just putting it into its own dirty bin, and I only wash that category. So I don't mix stuff in the washer.
Nice.
So it only comes out sorted.
Nice.
And I love it.
There you
go.
And
it's a mesh bin.
Listeners,
I can see through. It was cute. I have it on my Instagram. If this is interesting to you, I have a whole like highlight on my Instagram because I shared it, and it renates with some people. Some people are like, "You're an idiot. This is lazy," and then I'm like, "Thanks." No, my engagement.
Hey, no shame, no shame, no shade. Do what works for you. And I think it's brilliant because what you're doing is you're actually using this thing where it's like the piles that we naturally, our brain wants to do. The ADHD brain is the squirrel brain part of us, right? That wants to create the piles,
we love
right?
That.
Yes.
Yep.
But this is actually like taking that and saying, all right, we're going to do the pile, but we're going to do it inside of this pre-sorted thing. Yep. And then that actually saves us time later. We're doing this nice gift to our future self. That's amazing.
And how many times have you had to do a whole load of laundry because you were out of underwear? But I don't have to do a whole load of laundry. I just wash the underwear bin, and then I have underwear.
I think this is genius.
I agree, and I think that. But let's be poetic for a second. I'll even quote my up here, Alok. When people discover that other members of their species have found a way to do something, have improved a method because of their own struggle, I believe this. It gives off a sense of freedom that the first person didn't know they had, and they get mad. They're angry that you have this freedom, literally, to do laundry a different way. And they're like, but no, mommy and daddy told me that this is how you do laundry, right? Or this is how my roommate taught me, or this is how my RA taught me in college. Right. Whatever. Someone told them how laundry is done. You do it a different way. And they go, that's fucking lazy. That's wrong. That's stupid. It's like, no. It's because it might be an improvement on doing laundry, and you cannot live in a world in which that's true because it makes your version of doing laundry, right?
Yes. Or you can't live in a world where maybe your brain does it one way and I do it a different way. And that's fine.
Yes. And that's okay. And that lazy has nothing to fucking do with it.
Yeah. There is nothing, I'm going to say this right here to our listeners, right? There is nothing wrong with doing what works. Yes. If it works for you, then it's right for you.
That's what I say this. I say, if it works for you, then it works. That is like my motto in life. And that it's freeing, isn't it? Like it really is a freeing.
It is freeing. And people hate that freedom. I think
liberating.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, liberating. I think it's liberating. And that self-actualization scares people, I think. And I find that to be upsetting because honestly, that is the opposite of lazy. You said it yourself. This is actually harder. I'm having to think. I had to stare at a pile of dumb clothes, which none of you had to do. And I had to think about what part of this I don't like so much. That level of self-reflection, there are literally people alive who don't have to do that.
And to be clear, I prototyped it too. I literally just got 2 cardboard boxes.
Prototyped it.
Yeah, like 2 bins. All you need is 2 boxes or 2 bins, and you can do this too. Don't make a whole shelf. Because it might not work for you. Even though you may have ADHD like me, it still might not work for you. You might not have the shelf, whatever. So pick the category you run out the most of, right? So underwear, socks, those are good picks, I think usually. And just do that. Make a clean underwear box and a dirty underwear box. And just try that. And I think that if that works, then maybe you add another one. You don't need to and we as ADHDers often will try to solve something with a shopping spree, and then those things will sit in the corner and collect dust. And so I'm always like, whenever I give this advice or share my laundry tip, it was like, I'm glad you think it's cool, but don't buy anything yet. Try it.
Right. Prototype. Use a cardboard box. Yeah, you use stuff in the house. Yeah.
I think we just came up with your next product line. It's going to be,
I think so too.
Shelpful.
I know, right? I know that too. Like the Shelpful. Shelpful. I think we got to do it. I think I need to get some products
just
going.
Get some bins that have maybe have some QR codes that link up with the app. I don't know.
It took me so long to find. I have the perfect bins because they can't be too heavy because you're hauling them downstairs. I found the perfect bins. Right. They're mesh. They're wonderful. So I genuinely feel like I might need to start selling shelves and bins. But.
Okay, literally, I think my wife would buy this today.
I do have all those products linked on my thing because people ask all the time, and please try.
Where's it at if people want to find it?
On my Instagram, in my highlights, there's a highlight called laundry.
Okay.
Is that Shelpful or is it Sharon Pope? I've looked at this recently. I forget if you have your.
It's at Shelpful, which tag and at Shelpful is basically me posting about stuff like this, and I also talk about my app Shelpful. So
before we transition to another space, I think the 2 takeaways for me from this section are. Working backwards, Aaron's like, it's not wrong if it works, right? And then the other thing is the doing what I, Sharon Pope, have to do to accomplish boring, menial tasks is so the opposite of any definition of lazy. Like no definition of lazy fits the amount of Herculean effort that I am putting into living my regular ass life. So like those, I think those 2 takeaways are so important for our listeners. Number 1, you are not lazy if you are putting in 4x the work to do something that someone else doesn't require that labor, right? Like that's not lazy. That's in fact overworked, overbaked, overcooked. Like it's probably overwhelming you and burning you out to do all of that. And then the second is if something works, do not listen to the people who say it's lazy and stupid.
Right.
Keep doing the working thing, please.
You don't have to do it the way you were taught. And we wouldn't apply that rule to anything else. Like, what are we not going to... We're like, we wouldn't have invented the internet or phones or we have to keep doing it. No.
Yeah, I really like dial-up or I really like my rotary phone. I like being at home to make the calls and not have a mobile phone.
Yeah, we would never. What? But I'm trying to do my laundry different and people can't. Yeah, it's funny. And this radical acceptance, which I feel like I've kind of come to this place. And you asked, I think also how I advocate to my neurotypical
Yes. How do you, perfect. Good memory. Yeah.
Don't know how that happened.
Excellent memory. Yeah. How's that radical acceptance project outwards?
I talk about it all the time. I'm not preaching, but I do work it into conversations of my version of time blindness is that I'm so anxious and so scared of letting people down that I do end up being somewhat on time. Obviously there's exceptions.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of exceptions, but what I had to go through mentally to get there. But I have another ADHD friend who's perpetually late and everyone's kind of eye rolling and stuff. And I'm like, guys, let's just remember. And so I'll always kind of speak up and advocate Yeah, she's 30 minutes late, but that's just kind of, that's when she gets here. Happy to have her. And so I'll remind people of that like she has ADHD. It's not like she's just mean. And so I think that's important, but also just pointing out like little things, like in my friend group, like sometimes there's emails that go out for planning. And I will say, I love you guys so much and I want to see your emails, but I don't see them. So if you want me to be at your event, I hate to give you the extra work, but somebody should text me. But I love you, and I'm like I can't change to be like this. I'll try. If I see it, I will gladly come. But if I don't, I need you to know that that's nothing against you. And if you do really want me to be there, you might need to take an extra step that's within your capacity. And it goes great.
What you're describing is, I think it's the radical assertiveness, which is needed for radical. Like when you accept yourself and you accept others with neurodivergence, we need to actually be radically assertive. We need to tell people how we function best, what we need to be there to get the thing done.
Right.
And that's where a lot of times it falls short because people are so ashamed or so much in this like guilt spiral that they're like, I don't want to have to ask, and no one else has to ask for this. I feel so embarrassed.
You don't want to be a burden.
Then, when we radically accept, we're like, this is me. This is how my brain works. This is what I need. This is what's effective. And I own it. Then I can ask for it. And I can ask for it in a very upfront way that helps other people adjust their expectations.
And and you get to a place where you don't feel shame about it. Like, it's not even just advocating for forgiveness. It's like, and that's okay.
Right.
Like I will sometimes turn this for like shock value. Like, do you want to see the sea of red notifications on my home screen? Cause it will make you scream. And I'm totally fine with it. Isn't that funny? Like I have 104 unread texts. What do you think about that?
Yeah. If you looked at my email inbox right now, you'd probably see like 1,000 emails. And
you're rocking only 1,000. That's impressive.
I have let go of inbox zero in like 2010 or something, right? Like I was
inbox zero is not for me.
I don't need that.
No, inbox zero was such a lane, you know what I mean, of thinking.
That is time I don't need to spend.
So if you could tell something to a listener that might be struggling with radical acceptance, they might hear this idea. They might be like, yeah, it's nice for them. They look like they have their stuff together. They have all these different abilities or something. I don't know if I have this. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to accept myself as life is right now.
Yeah.
What would you tell that listener? How would you tell them to start that journey of radical acceptance?
Right. I mean, I think the first thing I'd say is you're not alone. And maybe just because there aren't examples of somebody like you in your immediate space, there are people like you. And for me, I mean, obviously we only have so much time in this podcast, but there was that in that kind of space when my users told me I had it and me seeing the doctor, I dove into the internet, TikTok, blogs. Like it was so helpful for me to just hear examples of how someone was coping with something, how ADHD presented in some way, and just feeling less alone. Like that is, I think, a huge step to acceptance, because when you feel like you're the only person who's sucking at life, it's a pretty shitty feeling. Yeah. And so like just knowing that, trap. Right. And then once you know, okay, there's other people who suck in this way, you can actually then evolve to, but they don't suck.
Love that.
Our brains just work differently. And maybe if, just like there would be accommodations for any disability or any difference that people might have in the way they enter a building, or the way they, are able to get into a car, or anything that you might kind of think of accommodations that need to be made. Well, maybe if I recognize first that my brain actually just works differently than that guy and that gal and this person behind me, then I can actually then treat myself better, which I think is just like look in the mirror and being able to say, your brain just works different, I think is huge. There's still low days, but because I now have this pride in the resourcefulness I've always had, and then how that's kind of played into after I was diagnosed, I'm so proud of it. Like I can't not talk about it. And I think that it makes you an advocate for yourself. So I think the biggest thing would be go find somebody else. And it's not as hard as it might sound. Like, I mean, we met at this ADHD conference that was open for any person to go. It was a neurodivergence conference for all types of neurodiversities. But honestly, hang out on TikTok, search ADHD on TikTok and Instagram, and you will quickly find maybe something that will relate to you, and then go in the comment section, because this is a beautiful community. Like I cannot put into words what warmth I've felt from the neurodiverse community in my comment section and others, that just people are really showing up for each other, making each other feel less alone. So it's like, it's the good side of the internet.
And a lot of this conversation has reminded me of, particularly when you said, find the other people who suck like you and then realize we don't suck. Dude, that sounded like punks and goths. I was a punk when I grew up. Like that sounds like punk fans and goth fans. You know what I mean? Like, go find the emo kids who think the world is falling apart like you do, and then discover that it's totally okay to feel that way.
Yeah, and decide together that you don't actually suck. Right.
Yeah, and then you start wearing black leather and studs and go to great concerts. Like, there's nothing, you know, like it's like
find your people.
Yeah, find your people.
And it's a bigger journey to come to that realization alone. To go from I suck to I don't suck. That's a leap. That's hard to. You can't really. Can you do that on your own? I don't know. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, you would need guidance. I think even on a solo
some guidance,
journey
and also just having someone tell you that, hey, meditation worked for me.
We're two pro-socialist species. We need an outside species member to go, hey, me too.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, if you're listening to this, hopefully you already know that there's someone like you. But I think the next step is then stepping back and looking at the things you've already done to make your life work a little bit better. Because you have done something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's something you've done. If you've ever flipped a timer, if you've ever like texted someone, hey, will you check if I did that? Like, you've done something. You've been resourceful. So then, you know, maybe just the next thing is feeling cool because you did that, and then trying to do more of it.
Recognize your accomplishments and where you have succeeded. Right. Because a lot of times we downplay those, and we think that just because something sucks right now, that we're failing or we're a failure. Yeah. And it's not. It's like, this might be hard. That doesn't mean everything in your life or anything that's, you know, that is positive and going well for you is not a testament to your own efforts and your something about you that you can point to. And we have to remind ourselves a lot of times, because all we feel is when we're in it, we feel it. It's like
constantly. And also just seasonally, like, and there's like life moments, like having a kid just hits the fucking reset button. Like, anything you thought you had going, that just resets. Starting a new job. I mean, like being diagnosed with a chronic illness, or, you know, there's like a million things that can literally reset the clock on any progress you feel like you've made mentally toward like managing your ADHD or managing yourself. And it's just, and you kind of just have to start over a lot. And it's hard. So I think just knowing that you're not alone is helpful there, but also just knowing that that's what we do as ADHDers, because systems aren't steady for us, because we're not people who like have a systems Bible and can just follow it. We're people who have like fluid things that work sometimes and don't work other times. That's just how our brains work. So we do have to reset. Harder in the moment to feel that when you just feel kind of broken and you can't get off the couch, but
yeah, this is Aaron, where you're, for me, it's famous, but for your famous quote for persistence and perseverance, right? Over, do you recall your quote? Could you drop that sweet golden nugget? This is a good place for it.
I don't know. He's putting me on.
He's going to have to look it up. I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. What we lack in consistency, we make up for in persistence.
Oh, that was worth the look up. That's a really good one.
I asked Aaron once, we were writing this, and I was like, who said that? Who said that? We were writing some other book stuff. And I was like, who said that? And he goes, and he's looking around, and he goes, I think I did. I was like, rock on. Yeah. Okay, great. I love that.
That's amazing.
For me, that's one of those cornerstone ADHD ethos, right? When everything goes to shit, we are not always, but we can be the kind of person who says, okay, I must have some faculty to figure this out, right? As opposed to everything has gone to shit, the world is crumbling, it's over, catastrophe, I'm done. ADHDers can be the neurology, the neuro-wired, the brain-wired folks to say, wait a minute, there must be something left in this tank. There must be something else. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to get up and try this again. I've been here before. Someone told me this is okay. Whatever it is, like we have that working memory is fucking working. That long-term memory is working. We go, there is something I can do here, right? And that persistence is key. I will back Aaron's quote with Kelly Bombs, who gave us another one recently that I like. I remembered it was Kelly.
Love her.
She says to her clients who come in, I told her, I'm stealing this from you. is it correct for me to assert that since you are sitting here in my office, you have made it through 100% of the adversity that's come your way to this point? Like you've made it through 100% of the things that sucked to get to this chair. And they go, well, yeah, I guess so. She goes, okay. So then I can correctly assert that you have survived 100% of what's happened to you to get to this couch. And they're like, yeah. And I think this is where they probably start to feel more powerful in this moment. And they go, well, yes, it's coming to me. I have made it to this couch. She goes, okay. So then clearly you've got something working enough for you to make it to here, right? So let's start with whatever that is, right? What worked 100% of the time so that you got to this couch and we're having this conversation. You have made it to this point. You can embrace discomfort clearly as you sit before me, right? And I love that kind of empowering. That's good. That's yogi kind of training.
We are constantly seeking a certain stable, persistent outcome. And I think that's the myth and the illusion of happiness, right? That in life, somehow we're going to arrive at a place where everything clicks and we're here. We've arrived at a certain place, whether it's you made the money that you wanted to, or you achieved this thing in your career, or, you have the family you want, or whatever it is, right? There's something that you feel like this is the point where I need to be to finally be happy.
Right. Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves, this is not about that. It's not about the destination. It's about this journey along the way and appreciating what you have right now and the people you have in your life that you surround yourself with right now. We're constantly stumbling and arriving. And that's okay.
Yes.
That's all.
Literally, stumbling and arriving that's what goes on the mug for me. That's like the story of my life.
Yes.
We can appreciate the beautiful imperfections about our process, about what we do to get to where we go. And you know what? Sometimes that persistence, it buoys us and it carries us through. And if anyone were to look back, right, at the process of anyone that's created stuff, any of the creators we have on here, the people that have built businesses, they could look back and if you open the door into the process, right, how the sausage is made, people would be like probably horrified, right, on some of the stuff
they are. I mean, like, if you do tell them,
they
like,
must be. Yeah, they must be horrified. How do you do that? There's no way. Yeah.
All they see, right? We have to remind ourselves, all you see is what is being presented through social media, through on a website, in a polished version. But guess what, guys? No one is doing stuff perfectly. It's all a process of growth and of consistently picking yourself up from places where you've failed. Yeah. And failure is part of that process. It's part of that growth journey. So remind yourself of that.
Remind yourself of that, and that it being messy is great. A messy kitchen is a sign of a delicious meal. You know what I mean? Like, it means you did the work. It means you got here somehow. I love like stumbling to arrival. For some reason, that just like clicked for me, because I do feel like, I literally am that person. Like, I'm here. Look, I'm on time.
That comes from a fellow ADHDer that Aaron and I are quoting there. And stumble and arrive. You put that on the mug. It should be on a mug. Yeah. It is the equivalent to I woke up like this. Right, I stumbling and arriving through
totally, life. Yeah, and then and who knew that I would be in a place now that I could look back and feel like I'm not embarrassed of that. I was embarrassed of that, of the secret shit that I did to survive, or that I only picked dentists that had online booking. That was like, that's my little secret. I'm not telling anyone. That's why I picked dentists, but that's why I did.
That's a good one. Hey, if you're listening,
hey guys, pick a dentist that has online booking. Don't pick one that doesn't. Like, that's hair appointments. Literally, if you're choosing a new hair, like, they have to have online booking, because you won't call them and you will get roots and you will get root canals.
Oh my God, this is good advice. Rolling out this machine gun advice. Also, your hair got crazier as you got more positive, which I think is supportive of the messy narrative. You're like, just go.
Well, speaking of stumbling and arriving, we have arrived at the end of the podcast.
What a segue. We're going to round out this awesome conversation. We knew we had a fellow rebel of the brain, of the mentally diverse, and in Sharon, and I think that's been proven over an hour and 15 minutes. This is I rarely get to use this word about people. You are a trailblazer. I think that's fair. Like I wouldn't use that very flippantly with people. It's from your allegory. I hear a new trail blazed, parallel to other advents in technology and communication and coaching and support. You found a lane, you found a product that works for your brain, and how beautiful, however ironic, how beautiful that you were developing something you thought was for others, and that the entire time that was the ADHD empathy working for you. Like that was your ADHD empathy working both directions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if everybody else is feeling the vibe, snaps for Sharon, the vibes are here. This is right. You got that bi-directional empathy working strong. And if there's ever a ringing endorsement for Shelpful, I hope I'm giving it right now. We don't have enough time. We could talk about so many things. So there will be another one. We will have a follow-up if you're okay with it. Yeah. Tell our fans where we can find you, all the places.
Yeah. So you can find me, my face literally plastered all over at Shelpful on Instagram. And then on TikTok, I started a different one. It's called at automatically ADHD. And I like talk more about automations there. Like a little bit, I kind of treat it as my own little brainstorm board for all my weird ideas of how to automate things. And so those are great places to find me. And then most of all, I would hope you try our app. It's a 14-day free trial. Our AI task manager will remind you before the billing date comes up, and we try to make it as ADHD
that's a
friendly
good
as possible.
Touch.
Right. So you download it from the iPhone App Store. We don't have Android yet. I'm sorry. We're working on it. But download it. You literally sign in with Apple and you're chatting. And so it's pretty easy to kind of see if it's useful to you. And hopefully if you try it, it kind of makes you feel a little bit lighter, like you're not so alone in your daily tasks. And then my podcast is called ADHD Founders. We did not start ADHD, but we are all startup founders who have ADHD. So it's me and Jesse, and I think both Jesse and Marie have been on your podcast. I think.
Yep.
Jesse Anderson and Marie.
We've got the trifecta now. You were the final. You were the final.
Rounded it out.
Yeah.
And that's just us. I mean, that's us talking about our startups. So we kind of give updates on like, hey, I got this done or whatever at the top of the show. And then we'll dive into just various like tech or startup or ADHD, flavor of the week in terms of what we're battling. So we say, we're like, I love that people listen to it, but it's essentially like group therapy for us because we just want to just feel less alone in the startup journey, which is
shop talk. It's really interesting.
Yeah. ADHD plus being a startup founder, there's extra like things there to talk about. So and thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Actually, it's a gift to us when you guys come on the show.